Okay, welcome back. What I want to continue with now is Unit 304, Level 3 NVQ, Diploma in Installing Electro-Technical Systems and Equipment. And this one is again is Building Structures and the Environment. Okay, and we're looking at Unit 4. Sorry, my apologies, Unit 304. Okay, and this is the EAL reference number if you happen to be doing EAL. But I think most colleges has now gone back to doing sitting gills. Okay, now session 3, isolation and switching. Okay. Now I'm not going to read this to you because you now need to read this for yourselves to understand what you're actually looking at. And we're looking at principles, planning, selection, equipment, etc. Okay, all linked to Unit 304, Session 1, 2, and we're now Session 3. Okay. Now I hope that you can see this top here. Sorry for it being looking so dark. It always puzzles me why it looks so dark. Let me see if I can bring it into the light. Make it any lighter. May not make much difference, but still we'll see. Just open up, pulling out any cables, because you know when you move these things from where they normally are, it always tend to give you some kind of problems. Okay. Okay, level 3 NVQ, diploma in installing, okay, etc. etc. Now here's what we're looking at, okay. The student will be able to gain an understanding of the requirements for isolation and switching. Okay. And here we are. Isolation is defined as a function intended to cut off, for reasons of safety, the supply from all or a discrete section of the insulation by separating the insulation or section from every source of electrical energy. Okay. Now there must always be isolation, and it should be designed into the system. An isolator is often described as a disconnector, although it is not the only means of providing isolation. And it is essential that the isolator can be safely secured or padlocked or kept under constant supervision of the person at risk. And here all we're showing you now is that this is not safely isolated. Someone just switch it off and put some sticky tape over it. It's not going to work. Somebody could come now, switch that on, you holding the two cables at the far end, and you will be electrocuted. Okay. Here now we have safely isolated, and let me just go into that so you can see it and bring it into the camera. Okay. Safely isolated and not safely isolated. Okay. so it matters. And again, refer to the IEE regs or the IET regulations, whichever is prevalent at the time. That is the Bible for electrical installation and electronics. Okay. And here we have the specification in regards to the IE regulations. Every installation must have a main switch or linked circuit breaker that is capable of switching the whole of the installations. Regulation 537.11.3 refers now. Allow for the fact that these regulations may have changed with time and updating. So you're looking for isolation in regards to the regulations, and that will bring you within that realm. Okay, where there are two sources of supply, such as for example a photovoltaic supply and a normal supply, a means of isolation must be provided for both supplies. Now remember that we have photovoltaic solar panels now providing power to our homes as well. So that too will need to be taken into account, and they will need to be separately isolated, or be in a position to be both isolated from one or the other, or from the property itself. Okay. This means of isolation must be as near as practicable to the origin of the installation and should be capable of switching on load. Regulation 537.1.4. Okay. Just checking to make sure that I was able to get isolation into the frame. Okay, so bear with me while I recap in certain situations. I will always recap to make sure that everything is in frame. Okay, isolation poles. Now the number of poles that need to be isolated varies depending on the type of earthing arrangements that have been provided. And if you look back, you will see that we provided you with earthing arrangements in session 1 and session 2. So look back at the videos in regards to those sessions, in regards to the 3 or 4 unit. I'm not going to go through this with you because this is now your position. You can now read this for yourselves. Location, main switch, TNS, single phase, all live conductors, line and neutral. 3-phase, line conductors only. Okay, brown, black and gray lines. Okay, and again it gives you the regulations which you need to refer to in this case and which would be applicable. Again, allow for changes in regards to this as the references may change over time, as we don't know what's going to happen in regards to Brexit at this moment in time. So we may still go back to an IET, or we may go back to an IEE regs. We have to wait and see. Okay. Now here, isolation of live parts. Okay. And let me just go back, make sure I can get everything in. Okay. Let's go down one as well. Okay. Let's go note over here. I'm just panning in, okay, just to make sure you can see everything. Okay. And let me just pan out, pan across. Isolation is a means of cutting off the electrical supply to enable skilled people to work on or near live paths. Okay, that is paramount. Okay. Now, regulations that deal with isolation. And here you can see it here, okay, sorry, I'm just, it clearly states that table 53.2 is particularly useful in stating what can and cannot be used for isolation, emergency switching and functional switching. Now this refers to the IET, IEE regs. Okay, and this you can read for yourselves. Let me just go pan back so you can get it all in, okay? Because you must be able to refer to this for yourselves and look up the information on the IET regulations. And this just continues, okay? Just coming over here, okay, you can see that gives you a lot of information here, okay? Tells you exactly what to look for, what references to look up in the IET regs. And also don't forget to use HSE, Health and Safety Executive information on the web. Now, isolation of electrical machinery, okay, and all I'm going to do is just to go in so you can pan across it and see it, and we'll pan across, okay, bring it into play, okay, and I'll pan back this way, okay. Just to make sure we can get it all in and that you can read it quite clearly. Okay, and again it clearly tells you the regs to look at and switch disconnector with or without fuses, etc. You need to read these up and be familiar with these for yourself, okay. Now switching off for mechanical maintenance. Just go into so you can see it yourself, okay? Panning. Okay. And let me just come out a little bit now so you can get it all in. Okay. The replacement, refurbishment or cleaning of lamps and non-electrical parts of equipment, plant and machinery. And here you have the regulation which tells you exactly what parts you need to be looking at. Okay. Okay. And that's the reference regulations that applies to it. Make sure you're familiar with this. Okay. And I'll just pan back now so we can get it all in. Okay. Okay. Now remember that session 1, session 2, session 3, they're all linking, okay? They're not separate items. And here we have table of the main requirements for the switching off for mechanical maintenance, okay? Let's go up to that, make sure that you complete, okay? Now pan back so we can get it all in, okay? And here we continues, okay? So let me just check something again. That's okay, that's fine, just to make sure I'm not repeating myself unnecessarily. Okay, that's good, okay, thank you. Okay, that's good. And again, we're just continuing with this frame, okay? And here we have the information. Question for this regs may have been changed in the new 18th edition of the IEE IET regulation, so keep that in mind. Now, I believe there will probably be a 19th edition of the IEE IET regs. So keep in mind that because of the amendments which may have to be made due to Brexit criteria, but we'll wait and see what happens. Okay. Okay. Again here, this you can read for yourselves. I'm not going to emergency switching. So it tells you here what you need to be familiar with, what you need to be doing, and how it should be done. And you need to implement it. Again, refer to the IE regulations. I'm giving you the regulations here that it relates to it specifically. So you don't have to be wondering on what page you can find it on. Look for the page. It tells you the regulations. All you need to do is look for it in that sense. Okay. And here we have a means of isolation. and it's simply showing you the stop button on a escalator. Okay, safety systems on a power transformer supply. Okay, and here again we have additional information on here. Let me just go down a little bit. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good for me. Come up a little bit. Okay, you can see it completely on here. Okay, these are stop and start buttons, controls. Now let me just go back a little bit to make sure we can get it all in. Okay. Okay. Emergency switching location. Okay. And it tells you the regulations you need to be looking at here. Okay. So I'm just going from the left, work my way across to the right. Okay. I'll go into here so you can see these reference regulations that tells you which the ones you need to know about. Now come back a bit now so we can get it all in. Okay. Here we have emergency switching. Okay. Example of emergency switching would be emergency stop buttons on motor control gear, escalators, etc. BSEN 60204 details the requirements for emergency switching of circuits supplying electrical machinery, etc. You can read the rest for yourselves. Okay, let me just go and make sure we can get this fully. Okay, and some of these diagrams I would recommend that you draw them out for yourself completely. Okay. Okay, can pan back now so we can make sure it's all in place. Okay. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, just check that there's nothing missing. Okay. Okay, good. Excuse me. Now the main requirements for emergency switching, and that's where it says that here, completely here. Okay, so let me just drop this down a little bit to make sure that we can get it in place. Okay, go down a bit more. Okay, I'm just going as well. Okay, and let me just go back up. Okay, make sure I've got everything in as well. Okay, just move over to the left, bring everything into view. Okay, so you can read it for yourselves. It tells you the regulations you need to be looking at. Okay, now pan back to the left. Okay, pan back to the right. Pan back to the left again. Okay. Now pan back to the right to make sure you can see it. It can be read and it can be seen, and you have all the numbers you need. Okay. Let me just settle down now, and we'll come back a bit, and then we'll pan out so we can get the whole thing in frame. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, functional switching. Here we have, and this is the, let me move into the functional switching. Functional switching is defined as an operation intended to switch on or off or vary the supply of electrical energy to all or part of an installation for normal operating purposes. And here we have given some examples. Rotary limit switch stops the winch at the park position, okay, etc. Relays, okay. Switches, okay. Starter contacts, or contactors I should say, okay. You use functional switching every day. It must be capable of switching the full load current and can switch a variety of devices on circuits, okay. Switch devices or circuits, sorry. Okay, just check that we got everything in place. Yes, we have. Let me just come back a bit to make sure we can get everything in view. Okay. Go down to functional switching. Okay, yes. Yes, I believe I have everything in view. Okay. Come back a little bit just to make sure. Okay, thank you. Okay. Now read the information, extract the information, make it your own. Okay. And again, we continue in with functional switching. Okay. And all I'm doing here now is showing you where the regulations has come into play. So let me just move forward. Okay. You can here we go across to here. Okay. And it tells you here the regulations that applies. Okay. I can then go back across to the left. Okay, and it tells you again switching can control more than one item. Okay. And it's giving you examples here. Okay. Offload devices. Okay, and again we have the regulations here which tells you which one applies to it. Okay. Okay, right, let's just come back a bit to make sure we can get everything in play. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Right. Firefighter switch. Okay. And again, let me just go in closer. Let me take a pan view. Okay. So you can see it for yourselves initially. Then I'm just going closer and take up the fireman switch, and it shows you and tells you which regulation applies. Okay. And again, same thing here. I'll just pan out a bit, go in. Okay. Make sure that you can see everything and get it into play. Settle down, and we're going to move again. Make sure we bring everything into view. Okay, and again here is Firefighter Switch, and the regulations numbers that you need to look at is quite clearly there for you to use. Okay. Okay, again I'm just panning in, okay, so you can make sure you can see the numbers and the regulations that it applies to it, okay. These you will need to use and read for yourselves. Make sure you understand and read the IET regs to ensure that there is no changes which you have not been aware of. You must comply with the IET regs or IEE regs, whichever the case may be. And remember, safety, 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 every time. Okay. Multi-choice questions. Answer the questions as well, please, for me. Okay, and there's no excuse for that. Okay, so I've gone down a bit. Let me just go up. Go up a bit more, make sure that I can get it all in, okay. 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 Just pan back, make sure we can get the questions in full. Okay. Thank you. Yes, we can. Good. And again, I'm pan back in again. Okay. Those in full. Okay. And let's just pan out. Okay. Okay. So again, here we are. Okay. Just pan in. Across. Let's go up. Okay. And we'll have that as well. Okay. let's come back and full and pan out, and I'll just click up to make sure we got everything in. Okay. Thank you. And then just click back up again. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that will be it for now. Thank you. I hope you will find this useful. Okay. And please again make sure you comply with the regulations and safety at all times. Okay.